Henry Tribble here, working on M.I.A. video devlog production. So in this video, we're going to go over how the player moves. They've got plenty of options in M.I.A. So obviously, basic WASD to move around. You also have a crouch button, which lets you sneak, so you can sneak past enemies, and that lets you, it lowers their field of view and radius, so you can really sneak past them a lot more effectively when you're crouching than when you're just running. And that brings us on to running. You can just run with sprint around, lets you get around a bit faster. A lot of this game's movement design is based off of the idea of speedrunning, so it's quite a speedrunnable game. The next option you have is jumping. You have a double jump, which you can use to cover quite long distances. And if you combine that with the dash, which you can see the dash bar recharging on the right, lets you go really far. So much further than when you combine them both. So other than that, you also have the swap gun, which lets you switch positions with things that your crosshair goes green with. So stuff like that cube, you can see it has the insignia, the swap insignia on it. So that means that you can switch with it. You can also switch with, I went over cameras, boxes, and you can also switch with AI. So these AI, they'll let you switch with them. Well, unwilling, of course. And because of this, it means you can do some really silly stuff, like jumping over acid and then switching with them. And now they're in the acid. So that's one way to deal with your foes if you wish. Oh gosh, I've fallen in the acid. So yeah, it is a little bit tricky to hit. So we'll get to see a bit of respawning. Hopefully. I'm just gonna restart the level just in case the last save was in a different level. But yeah, so that's your general idea. There's one extra way of getting around, and it's the fastest, and it's rocket surfing. So you get an AI to fire a rocket at you, and then you let it explode next to you, and then you surf it all the way. And I've just got to the end of the level by surfing a rocket. So those are the main ways of getting around. Let's have a look at how that works in the code. So in the code, we're using rigid body movement, because it does make a lot of things we're trying to do here specifically just a tad easier. Crouching for character controller is kind of strange. I guess we can start with that. The way I've got it set up right now has a lot of customizability. So stuff like difficulty is in the game. So if you go here into the project files, we've got hard difficulty, and this even lets you customize the amount of jumps they get. So for hard, we've said that they only get one jump, and for easy they have oh, that's AI. Do they have more jumps? They've got 3 jumps for easy, and normal is just 1. But both, oh sorry, normal is just 2. But yeah, they all have customizability, and this is using scriptable objects. So they all take their stats from there. AI also has their stats scriptable objects, so they get to change a few things like their health and like damage and view radius, etc. Patrol. We'll make a separate video on the AI in the future. So the way the crouch works just changes the height, just adjusts the height of the character and changes the size of the collider. nothing special there. Jumping, just basic jump logic. We're checking if it's grounded. We've chosen to use just a check sphere for grounded, trying to go simple, but as effective as possible. Dashing is just a simple add force. So, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There you go. So, yeah, it is just an add force in the forward direction. Just real quick, suddenly boost the speed. The movement, we have a couple little footstep code and everything. But all it is combining the forward vector and the right vector with vertical and horizontal inputs multiplied by speed calculation. So this speed calculation is just takes into account the stats and also whether they're crouching or whether they are sprinting, for example. So sprint and crouch both handled here inside the speed calculation. So I think that pretty much covers most of the logic. The rest of the logic for inside of this script are mostly effects like aberration. So when the player takes damage, it just adjusts the let's go into the post-processing, and it just increases this aberration, just lerps the aberration. Can I see it on the scene? Can you? Not really. Oh, because I was adjusting the wrong thing, that's why. Yeah, so it just adjusts the chromatic aberration to show that you're like being hurt when you take damage. There's a few checks, not that important. Just getting inputs and stuff. Quick check sphere for the wall brace. There is actually time dilation, but it's very subtle when rockets get close and stuff. That's pretty much a really quick win through tour of the player controller. Most of the complexity here is from the effects. The actual logic itself is really not that complex. It's just as simple as can be. If you were to strip out all the effects from this code, I think it would total to be about like 10, 20 lines of code. So most of it is just stuff like crouching is like smoothing it out, making sure you can't crouch when there's something above your head, and stuff like that. So that's basically how the movement code works. In the next video, we'll go over the AI. So thanks for your time, and I'll see you next time.